Hello and welcome to another edition of the One Team We Agree On. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Kyle. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I'm a little tired, but I'm good. Long day of teaching.
It's been a eventful day for me as well. We kicked off another 1 5 hour of our Live Strong at the YMCA
Hmm.
programs. That's why I'm wearing the shirt today for cancer
I'm
survivors.
still in my teacher
Yep.
clothes for the
So
day.
it's game up. So
Yep.
really excited. This has been a while coming. I'm really excited. I know you are too to sit down with the PA announcer of Philadelphia Union, Mr. Kevin Casey.
Yeah.
And Kevin, it's been great getting to know you this past year and kind of just, chatting up before and after games. How are you doing this evening?
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me on, Kyle and Jillian. Excited to be here. I know we've been talking about it a long time. So, uh, you know, what better thing to do on an 8-degree night than to hang out here and chat a little bit, right? Better than being outside.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, so cold.
it is
Yeah.
so cold.
Yeah.
Um, and just you're a Temple grad.
I did. I have a master's degree from Temple in sports management. Yep. Yeah. So I graduated undergrad at Eastern University.
Hmm.
I was a elementary school major.
Mm.
I also had a concentration in special education. Got my first teaching position in the special education world, and thought for sure that I had just completely messed up and made the wrong decision. Just wasn't for me. So I started to go back and get my master's degree at Temple in sports management. Thought I wanted to work in a college athletic department environment,
Hmm.
and in the process of doing that. I got out of the special education world and got a job in the history field and fell in love with that. And that's what I've been doing for the last 27 years is teaching history. First 10 years I was at a middle school, and then the joke is that I had to find out what happens after the Civil War. So I went to the high school level after that to see what happened after the Civil War. So that's where I've been.
That's really interesting because I did my undergrad in ed as well. So
Yeah.
I started as an elementary teacher and, had some long-term subbing. I got out at a bad time where it was like the recession, couldn't find an elementary teaching job.
Yeah.
And I actually had in college done a concentration in history because I love history.
Yeah.
And I thought about, taking the praxis and getting certified to teach that, but there was like, it was hard enough to find a job and that
Yeah.
was one that there wasn't a need. So
Yeah.
I actually ended up getting certified in family and consumer science and middle school math. So I got those. I've been teaching middle school family and consumer science ever since and love it. But it's just funny how, just life goes sometimes,
Sure.
the change of
Yeah.
plans.
It
So
all works out.
yeah.
And for me, I wanted to actually be a journalist. I went to school in Westchester. I went to Westchester, and
Yeah.
that was my thing. I wanted to cover swimming and sports, and that was my thing. And
I love it.
I got into coaching, and then now training. So
Yeah.
let's talk. Do you want to get
Yeah.
into it?
So, for people that aren't as familiar with you, Kevin, just can you tell us a bit about, just your journey to get to where you are with being a PA announcer, for not only the Union, but University of Pennsylvania, and just yeah, how you got into that?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm a sophomore at Eastern University. It's 1996. I had been on the men's soccer team there for a year and a half before I realized I was too slow. And so at that point, I had two options. I could either work on it and try and get faster, but the heart wasn't in it so much. So I decided to put that aside. And I'm sitting watching the men's basketball team play. And my soccer coach at that time, who was the athletic director, Wayne Rasmussen, was doing the PA announcing. And I turned to my girlfriend in the bleachers, who's now my wife of 26 years. And, I told her that I think I'd like to give that a shot, right? And so um, the message I often tell to students and people looking to get into the industry is that how many people want to do something, but that's where it ends, right? I think I'd like to do that, but they don't do anything else, right? And so I went up and I made the effort to talk to Coach Rasmussen and asked if I could give it a shot. He loved the idea. I had a roommate next to me. This is 96, right? So we're not in the digital age yet. So I had a roommate who was a DJ. He brought all his equipment down, right? We had the Jock Jam CDs. And this is right during the Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls era. So they
Hmm.
sort of defined game presentation, right? And so we tried to emulate a little bit of that in this tiny little gym in Radnor, Pennsylvania, and it was well received. And so I wound up doing a lot of the sports at Eastern, and then had a connection. Coach Rasmussen put me in touch with the Philadelphia Kicks, and they were an indoor soccer team at the old Spectrum. And I started out, I would go during the day and announce the little kids' games. And then I would sit next to the PA announcer during the game and just help him out. And eventually I took over for him. And, one door opens another door. And I think that I've pretty much been associated with just about every minor league team in the area. From minor league baseball, Atlantic City Surf, Camden River Sharks. I was with the Philadelphia Phantoms, 15 years with the Philadelphia Wings. Um, Philadelphia Kicks, like I said, collegiately with LaSalle University and Drexel University and Penn. And I always sort of had an ambition to want to be, obviously, at that point, I wanted to be with one of the big four, right?
Hmm.
And so the unfortunate thing for public address announcers is that there's about 150 years worth of experience within the big four, right? Dan Baker's 50 plus
Hmm.
years, Lou
Hmm.
Nolan 50 plus years, even Matty Cord probably has at this point 30 plus years. And so they were all super nice in mentoring me. I've sat next to Dan Baker and Lou Nolan for games, absolute gentlemen. And then in 2010, the Union announced their franchise in 2008, actually. We started in 2010. And I was fortunate enough to be in the room in 2008 when they announced the franchise. And again, Coach Rasmussen was an advisor for Nick Sakevich at that point, and threw my name out there, and I was offered the position, and I fell in love. I found my home. I've become the soccer guy. I've made my niche in the city, and I've just had some amazing experiences along the way, and it sort of all goes back, Kyle and Jillian, to that moment in 1996, right? What if I don't get off the bleachers? What if I don't? I miss out on all this. So it's been a great ride, and I don't know that I would have changed anything. And I love that I get to be the soccer guy as far as PA announcing in the area.
Yeah, it's interesting to talk about the opportunities because that's something we always talk about. Like, what if we didn't take a shot at, like, I didn't take a shot at coaching or,
Yeah,
with her. I mean, that's how we met. I hired her. I took a shot at a young
I
coach
love it.
coming up and,
Yeah.
or just even with this site, this is a podcast. But I think that's a really valuable lesson, something we always tell our athletes as well, even to this day. But no, that's very interesting. We're going to touch on some of those things, kind of opportunities and things coming up here. But you mentioned something interesting, Atlantic City Surf. So when I was a kid, me and my buddy in high school would drive from York, Pennsylvania down to Atlantic City and be one of 8 people
Yeah.
in attendance in those Atlantic League games. I'm sure you remember some of those nights.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
speaking of Atlantic League at the time, friend of ours, Dave Leno, co-worker, cohort of yours, um,
Legend.
yes,
Yes.
mentioned that, he interned at the Camden River Sharks one time, a long time ago, and you were one of the PA announcers there. Can you talk about first meeting Dave? How you've seen him grow from back then as an intern to now?
Yeah, so Dave was at Indiana University, right?
Hmm.
He's riding high right now, isn't he? So,
Yeah.
Hmm.
yeah, so I met him. He came on to spend the summer as the play-by-play guy.
Hmm.
Um, and minor league baseball is interesting because you don't have a whole lot of help, right? And
Hmm.
that goes from the public address announcing standpoint to what Dave does. So, Dave was in the booth. He would have sometimes a color commentator with him, but a lot of times he's doing the legwork on his own, right? And you just kind of knew early on, just his booth was next to my booth. I'm on a wireless mic, so I wander around, so I would be in the booth a lot with him, and you just had it. You just knew from that standpoint that he had a unique style. He had a professionalism about him. He had a composure about him. As a young guy coming out of Indiana, and I was just thrilled to death when he came on with the Union. One of the nicest guys you're ever going to meet. Just an absolute genuine guy. And to get to continue to work with him now for so many years has been an absolute blessing. But yeah, he was just naturally gifted. So I'm just happy for all of his success.
Yeah, and what was like something for you personally that like a valuable lesson now sitting in your position that you took from your time there with the River Sharks?
I think that any aspiring sports management in person should spend some time in minor league baseball because you will wear every hat that you could possibly imagine, right? And so, from the standpoint of being a public address announcer in minor league baseball, the script is really sort of just a suggestion, right? So things change on the fly, right? Like I would be doing first pitches, and there would be two first pitches scheduled, and all of a sudden nine people show up throughout a first pitch, right? So it's like I have no idea who these people are, right? And we're in the middle of the first pitches. And so, what you have developed from the standpoint of a public address announcer is the ability to ad lib and think on your feet, which is a super important skill set to have, right? And what I've found is that as I slowly sort of made my way up the ranks, the job actually becomes easier because it's so much more professional and well planned out, right?
Hmm.
And so now with the Philadelphia Union, everything is so meticulously scripted down to the second that there's no deviating from it. So when that opportunity comes where we have to, being able to fall back on that skill set of ad libbing from my minor league baseball days, I think sort of puts everybody else at ease that we can sort of handle anything along our way. So I did everything except for tarp pulls. I always found a way to get myself out of pulling tarp during rain delays, and I always use the excuse that I'm the PA guy. I got to be on the mic to let everybody know what's going on. So, but yeah, minor league baseball and the development of ad libbing is a massive skill that I've picked up along the way.
That's wonderful to hear.
Yeah. So you kind of mentioned, how you got into it and everything, and just early on and even now, just who are some people that were your influences getting into this?
Yeah. Sure, absolutely. I mean, I've kind of mentioned there's sort of that fraternity of public address
Hmm.
announcers in the area, and clearly Dan Baker was an early mentor of mine. And again, it was a moment where I stepped out of my comfort zone and reached out to him. I found out a way to contact him. I mean, he could have easily have just said no or just not got back to me, but he went out of his way to reach out to me and invite me out to sit next to him during a game. And I've had experiences with him and just seeing about how professional he is. The thing I love about Dan Baker is from the moment that he walked in from the parking lot to the moment he sat in his seat, he knew everybody's name along the way and stopped and had conversations with every single person along the way. I just thought that was such a genuine thing. John McAdams was the longtime public address announcer at the University of Pennsylvania and about at least a dozen other schools in the area. I think there's probably at least 10 to 12 of us who had jobs when he unfortunately passed away, and we were able to follow in his footsteps. But another guy who took me under his wing, and I would regularly have conversations with him about breaking into the industry, Lou Nolan from the Flyers, another guy who was just as genuine as can be, Matt Cord with the Sixers. And it all sort of came to a head with these guys when we had the pandemic, right? And we're sitting around and we don't have anything to talk about. So, the kids and I, we started doing these crazy life without soccer videos, and we put them up on YouTube. And
Hmm.
we decided that one of our videos was going to be the other PA announcers and what are they doing with their time. So we had this scripted out where we had Lou Nolan who was sitting in his library reading Shakespeare, and Matty Cord was announcing outside of the Wells Fargo Center, and Tommy Smith jumped in on that, and he was doing bird calls for us, right? So being able to put sort of some of those mentors into that video was kind of special, but it's a special group. I've often thought how cool it would be to get those guys into a room and just um, just hear their stories, right? Almost like sort of like it would be cool to do like almost like a night event where you're just,
Hmm.
you get all three of these guys. And the other guy we're not talking about is Gary St. Hours from the Eagles, who's
Mm.
from Baltimore, right? He's been around for 20 plus years at least
Hmm.
too. So, you know, um, yeah, so that's kind of something I would love to see at some point is hearing these stories that I'm sure they have to tell.
Yeah, and you've done some voiceover acting, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, is there anybody in that field that you're kind of like when you listen to, advertisements, voiceovers, like, I'm curious, like, how is that different? Obviously, you have a script kind of like, you kind of talked about everything's so meticulous with the union. How has that maybe first, how's it different? How does that maybe help you with, announcing as well?
Actually, Kyle, it almost hurts a little bit, right? So
Okay.
you have to be able to separate because the voiceover world has changed in
Hmm.
that they no longer want the sort of announcery style voice, right? They
Hmm.
want a conversational, natural tone, right? And it's a challenge to take a piece of copy and read it like you're having a conversation. And
Hmm.
so I naturally have sort of an announcery type voice, right? So my regular voice is kind of that. And so a lot of times I would go to auditions and that's the first thing that I would get. Well, you sound a little announcery. Can you be more conversational? And
Hmm.
that's a challenge. So I've in the voiceover world tried to figure out ways to just come across as more sort of conversational and natural as you're reading script when my natural inclination is to sort of go into announcer mode, right? And so there's narration and things like that that are sort of my wheelhouse of what I do. I have a studio here in the house that I do a lot of voiceover work. Usually, I'm in the studio about every night, about hour or so, knocking out projects for clients. So, yeah, but that's been the biggest challenge, Kyle, is actually trying to separate the two.
Yeah, and I'm sure at times the announcer voice lends itself well to teaching, doesn't it? Sometimes you
Yeah,
gotta bring that
Jillian.
voice in.
Yeah. I call it my teacher voice. When I
Yeah.
have to use my teacher voice, that's when there's been times when I've been announcing, like we'll have the weather delay at Subaru Park, right? Nobody wants to leave their seat. And so I get into the producer's ear. I'm like, do you want me to use my teacher voice? You want me to get these people out of these seats? So, it definitely does. And like I said, I don't, this is sort of how I naturally talk, right? So um, I don't feel that I'm announcery, right? But like when I'm in front
Mhm.
of a class and talking, I think it comes across as such that a lot of times I don't even recognize it to a certain extent, right?
Yeah, for sure. I know all about using the teacher voice because I'll be pretty chill, but then there's times where I really have to
Yeah.
put that voice on. I'm
Yeah.
only 5'3". I'm not real tall and I'm not, I don't have quite as much of a presence there, but oh, the students know. They know when I need to
Yeah.
use or when I use the swim coach voice. I mean, it's loud
I love it.
vocabulary. I got to use that sometimes. But yeah,
You
just
have
curious.
to
Yeah. You go
you have
ahead.
to strategically use it. You can't use it all the time. If you just pull it out at
Yeah.
certain times, that's when they know you mean business.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like how much do your students know about your other gig?
It's funny. I think a lot of them come in with the knowledge of what I do. But it's always funny that like we'll make it through the year and there are kids that don't. Inevitably, it comes up in class and they'll want to see some of the YouTube videos and stuff, and then the kids who didn't know, are sort of blown away by, what Mr. Casey does in his side hustle, right? Because as teachers, we all have side hustles.
Right.
So it's definitely a cool connection with the kids. It's a great way to sort of build rapport with them. Having that and being able to talk about some of my experiences with them as well. And it's been interesting, right? So I'm at the point now in my career where former students are now making their way through college. I'm 27 years in, right? So,
Mhm.
um, and then I have students who are contacting me, hey, and they're now where I was in
Mhm.
'96, right? And they're shadowing me, and I'm sort of kind of guiding them along the process. So, yeah, it's been a full circle sort of moment there.
That's super cool. Yeah, I know it's like I don't go telling kids, "Oh, I do media with the union,"
Yeah,
but like sometimes they figure out, I know there's students of mine listening, right? They'll be listening to this. But
Yeah.
it's like but it's cool. They'll find out it's like, "Oh, yeah, I have students that are union fans." I saw a kid today in the hall. I'm like, "Oh, you're wearing union stuff. Nice."
yeah,
But no, it's really, kind of funny how that goes. But yeah, I mean, it all kind of works together and but that's really cool. How that's come full circle for you there.
yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. So Kevin, I gotta ask, I saw you this summer when I was covering the Club World Cup in Philly.
Yeah.
I want to hear your experiences during that whole tournament down there, what that was like for you. How did that come about, that opportunity?
Yeah, so like I said, so in the Philadelphia market, I've sort of carved out my niche. So whenever the um, big international friendlies are in
Hmm.
town, or the national teams in town, or even regionally, I've been lucky enough to be asked to serve as PA announcer. And it was about a year ago, right around this time, and we're starting to figure out like, okay, will I have the opportunity to work Club World Cup? And there was a thought that FIFA has a sort of a group of voices that they
Hmm.
travel with, right? Who know the show and know FIFA's way of doing it, and maybe they were going to come in, and a lot of American voices that would work stadiums might get shut out. Luckily, that wasn't the case, and through just my experience of working matches and having connections with people, I was able to be asked to work the Club World Cup, and it was truly a fantastic experience because of how unique it was. Right, like most matches in which I work, I am in a booth, right, and I'm stationary. But for Club World Cup, they wanted more of a host presence. So they had me out in the stadium area. I was on like this deck above these suites on the upper concourse there, and surrounded by the seats and everything. And I was out in the element of it all. And I was doing live hits on camera to the stadium, which, for a public address announcer, that rattles your cage a little bit, right? Like I'm used to reading off a script, and
Hmm.
when you're on camera, you lose that ability. So I love that. I love the ability to try and challenge myself. And what I really loved about it was just being out amongst the crowd and the energy and the noise of it all. And we had great crowds.
Hmm.
Um, the Palmeiras crowd was probably the top. I mean, the Brazilian clubs were really um, bringing it. Flamengo, Palmeiras were both on the side I was sitting in.
Hmm.
So I mean, there's times where you just like you turn and you're like this the person who was working with me, Allison, um from the union, and it was like this is just unbelievable, right? And then you're thinking to yourself like this is just a small snippet of what it's going to be like this summer when the World Cup comes to town. And so yeah, it was just a fantastic experience that I'm just so blessed and glad I had the opportunity to work.
And did you have a favorite match that you were at?
Yeah, so I think it probably would have been well the Moroccan team, um, Tunisia Esperance, was it Esperance?
Was it the
The ones
one
who
that
brought the flares
The
in.
Flares.
Was it the one? Okay, so funny story. Sorry to cut you off there.
Yeah, go ahead.
So from my vantage point, I'm in the press box. You make the announcement, man. I think it is fans don't set off the
Yeah,
pyrotechnics. All of a sudden, it just sets them off, and we're just
that was
like I'm
it.
like taking videos. Okay, sorry but go ahead. Sorry to
It
cut
was
you off.
like, it's like the parent telling the kid not to do something. It only makes them want to do it more, right? So it's almost like, do you bring attention? But it was awesome. Now they were at the opposite end from me, so
Hmm.
I just saw it from afar. Um, but like that was a cool experience. And then having the Palmeiras fans were the most organized in that they
Hmm.
would come in hours before the match and they would set up multiple props that would be used throughout the game. And I'm just blown away by the consistency, right? Like, I mean, there were days when it was 100 plus degrees, right? And they
Hmm.
were just going for 90 minutes as loud as there's no break. There's never a lull, right? It's almost
Mhm.
like an American sport. We're loud at certain moments, right? But to hear that level of noise for just 90 straight minutes is just it's incredible. Yeah. So I would say that the flares being brought in by the Moroccan team, and the noise being brought by the Brazilian clubs was most memorable.
Nice. And with the 2026 World Cup coming up, any plans to have you at that at this point, or anything you can share?
Yeah, so we're getting closer. We're in discussions right now with FIFA and the talent group that FIFA's working with, and things are progressing. So hopefully within the next week or two, there might be the opportunity to make an announcement of some sort. But it's getting closer, looking good. But it is FIFA, so you never know what could happen. So
Right.
you don't want to count those chickens until they're hatched, right? But the hope is that yeah, I'll be involved with the 6 matches in Philly this summer, which would be obviously the pinnacle of a career, right? You can't think of a
Hmm.
better,
Mhm.
bigger sporting event to work than that.
Oh, that would be absolutely incredible.
No,
Yeah.
for sure. And just from our my vantage point going down and covering those matches, I thought it was having you there doing that. I've never seen that kind of, how they had you announcing and then they'd have the match and you kind of come in. I thought you did an excellent job. And
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it.
it was just it was something different than just covering, your normal matches. And I thought it brought a really good different atmosphere and vibe to a just a soccer match.
Yeah, and it was fun. A couple times at halftime, I would go down into the crowd
Hmm.
and we would do like a dance contest or something. And that brought me back to my River Shark days, right? Of doing minor
Right.
league baseball, of being in the stands and stuff. So it was a lot of fun. I think the World Cup's going to be a bigger event with more voices than just my own that'll be
Hmm.
there. But to be involved in any capacity would be a dream come true. So hopefully it comes out.
So I want to talk about your routine for like what is your game day routine for like Union 2 or any events that you're calling? Is there some and in particular, is there a specific way you warm up your voice before a match, or is it just kind of
Honestly, yeah, I don't have a whole lot that I do. I'm not in my capacity as a PA announcer, I don't have to do the
yeah,
Dave Leno style
yeah,
boards, right, that
yeah.
he's become known for. So I'll show up about 2 hours ahead of a match. The biggest thing for me, Jillian and Kyle, is to see the opposing team names phonetically spelled, right? And so
Mhm.
the league does a great job in their media notes of not only having the roster, but also having the phonetic spellings. I mean, that's all I really am looking for is pronunciations, right? I only have one job. It's just say the name correctly. And that doesn't just include players. Anybody that's involved in any level of a pre-match ceremony, halftime, I want to say their names right. They're
Mhm.
especially if they're there for an on-field recognition of some sort, right? This is their moment,
Hmm.
right? This is you. I want to get it right. So about an hour and a half ahead of time, we'll have a production meeting where we'll go through the script. There's a lot of different elements that I don't know if people are aware of that need to be on the same page to pull off a game presentation, right? Myself, music, the video board, right? The graphics panels, the LED boards, right? And so Allison, our producer at the Union Games, does an amazing job of pulling everybody together and coordinating everything. And so we'll have our production meeting. I'll ask any questions about pronunciations at that point. I'll look through the media guide. And then I guess the only thing for my voice, and it's more superstition than anything else, is um, in the dining room, they would always have lemon lift tea from
Hmm.
Bigelow.
That's good
And I would
stuff.
always right, but then they stopped having it. And so
Hmm.
I started to go to the stadium club to try to find it because it became like if I didn't have this lemon lift, the Union were going to lose and it was going to be my fault. So I had to get lemon lift tea. That was my superstition. So I wound up ordering it on Amazon, but I didn't realize what I ordered. And I wound up ordering like 260 bags of this tea, right? That I'm still going through today. But I have a stash in the control room. So the only real thing that I do is I have usually a lemon lift tea before a match. It's more superstition than anything else. But
Hmm.
yeah, so that's it. That's kind of the pre-match ritual.
That's funny you mentioned lemon lift because that's the tea I had tonight during conferences.
Oh, it is? Yeah,
Yeah, that's good stuff. It made me
I
very
know.
perky tonight.
I'm
No,
waiting
that
Yeah.
for Bigelow to offer a sponsorship, but they have yet to do so.
there
Yeah.
you go. There you go. No, it's funny. That was going to be my follow-up question to that. Is that because I remember, I think it was you were talking to me and Todd Lewis, I think before kickoff, one of the it was early in February. It was like maybe it was 2024.
Yeah.
Anyway, I remember you just sitting there because we're all waiting for the hot water because we all want to get tea, and you're just
Yeah.
like,
It's like
Yeah.
they're gonna lose this game if we don't get hot water.
Yeah.
yeah. So, you want to take?
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, so your son, I know he plays soccer, he spent
Yeah.
time at the Union Academy. He's at FC Delco now, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so just talk about the time though for your family, with him being at the academy and just what were some of the memories from that time? I know he was part of that U15 squad that won
Yeah.
back in June, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, just share some memories from that.
It's been an unbelievable blessing to not only have the experience to be a public address announcer, but really to share it with my son and my two daughters as well. My oldest daughter Elena is 20, Anna is 11, and so but particularly my son has been coming to the matches with me since he was 8. He's going to turn 16 in 2 weeks. And so when he was young and he was 8, he first came to a match with me on Take Your Child to Work Day. Um, and then he had the bow tie. Pre-COVID, I would bow tie it up all the time, right? But
Hmm.
COVID killed the tie. So,
Mhm.
but he would start coming with me to the games, and when he was young, it was sort of an understanding. They used to have these great brownies right then. They don't have anymore, but in the press dining room.
Hmm.
And so it
Mhm.
was sort of understood that Micah had free reign on the brownies. And so, and then he got more comfortable, and I would look to my right, and he's not there because he's in the dining room with the brownies, and then he would come back, and he's like 9 years old, and so he sort of became the mayor of the press box and wound up getting his own credential, right, which was a big. Did some things, really cool things with the players, where he did like a interview when he was little with Oguchi Onyewu and Bedoya.
Mhm.
They did a little thing, it was fun, and then he starts playing and he starts developing. And when he was 12, he moved to FC Delco, which is we're in South Jersey, so getting to
Mhm.
Conshohocken is about an hour drive. And he was scouted by the Union Academy and played his U13, 14, and 15 years in the Union Academy. And of course, last year the 15s won MLS Next Cup. And
Hmm.
that experience was really transformational from him because it instilled in him a work ethic that to this day I'm blown away by on a daily basis of just how hard he works on his own without any
Mhm.
um, pushing, right? So I've always said that I will make every opportunity available for him as long as he wants it and as long as it's something as soon as I have to pull him to something, then I would have no problem pulling back. And so I think the Union Academy really instilled in him a professional mindset, which he's taken to this day. And he had a great time at the academy and now at FC Delco. And we're so spoiled in this area to have these high level clubs. When you have the Union Academy and then you have a club like FC Delco to go to. And he's just had some great opportunities this year to play some meaningful minutes and meaningful matches and really continue to develop and learn how to handle the highs and learn how to handle the lows. And we're starting to get into college, the process and seeing what that all looks like. But I just think the way he conducts himself off the field, everybody practices, everybody plays,
Mhm.
but watching him up at 5 in the morning and getting touches in, watching him eat as clean as could be and getting to bed at 8 o'clock and doing all the recovery and doing the workouts with the speed and the strength and conditioning coach in town. And I think those are things that he picked up in the academy, looking at how these guys go about their work and their business.
Yeah, it definitely takes a lot of dedication, and it's just always interesting hearing the parental side of it. We had the Griffins on a little while ago, and they shared some of their experience with that too. So,
Yeah, it's just always interesting just hearing the families like how it impacted their
hmm.
their pl- their son, moving
Yeah,
forward.
yeah.
So
And that
Yeah.
U15 MLS Next Cup, that was super fun to watch. That was really exciting.
it was.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
had he had a chance in that first match. They played I believe a team from Los Angeles. I actually wasn't able to go down for it because I was working the Club World Cup,
Mm.
Hmm.
and he scored in the first match. He's a center back, right? So he's not on the score sheet a lot, but late in the match, he goes forward and is on the receiving end of a cross, and it was just such a great thing to see him have that moment in such a big spot.
Yeah. No, that is awesome, and I'm sure he's going to cherish that memory forever. And has is he thinking about what's he kind of leaning towards, if you don't mind me asking, like in terms of major, or what's he thinking?
Yeah, I think he loves the exercise science world. He loves
Hmm.
nutrition. Um, I think his strength and conditioning coach at Zen Fitness, which is here in Mantua that we go
Hmm.
to, um, has been a huge influence positively on him. He's very much into, like I said, wanting to eat clean and be healthy and just be the best version of himself. So I definitely think that that'll be a path that he heads down in college.
That is wonderful to hear. You kind of talked a little bit about, you know, working with the union, like kind of how everything's kind of scripted, the calls and all that.
Yeah.
What is something that to the common person they wouldn't understand, like the ins and outs that you can share about your job on a game day? Like,
I think it's the level of coordination that goes into the timing of it all, right? In
mm-hmm,
that there's a lot of moving parts in a pre-match show, right? You've got
mm-hmm,
various um, sponsorship reads that need to be done, various sponsor elements like the hot dogs from heaven, the
Mhm.
t-shirt. You have sometimes you have check presentations or on-field recognitions, and those all have to be done in that time. There's no room for, well, we're not ready yet, right? You have to be ready because we have to be done our show and kicked off at this particular time, or else there's fines associated with MLS, right? And
mm-hmm,
so um, I oftentimes are blown away when we have the flyovers, when we
Mhm.
have the parachutes, because the meticulous way in which they're all timed, and
Mhm.
how a lot of times it doesn't go according to plan, but the key is that the fan in the seats doesn't really know. So
mm-hmm,
there's a lot of chaos, controlled chaos that's going on
mm-hmm,
in the control room. And it always seems to pull itself off and we get it done, right? And so I think it's that level of controlled chaos to make sure that the fans' experience is seamless is what I'm sort of still always blown away by that we're able, Allison, the producer with the union, is able to, move all of these different elements around and stay composed when things don't go the way they should. And we kind of all pull it off in the end.
And then when you go into Union 2 games the next day, a lot of times, then that's a little bit more laid back, I would assume.
Oh, Jillian, I
Aren't they
love the
fun?
Union 2 games because of that. It's such a cathartic, like in the control room anyway, right? It's
mm-hmm.
quiet. It's just the two of us. It's myself, the scoreboard operator, and music, right? Yeah, I love it. I love the fact that it's high level soccer, right? And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times you're getting a chance to really hear what's going on.
Yeah.
I love my connection with my Bridge Brigade, right?
Love it.
That
Thank
Yes.
you,
that
Kevin.
that
Yes.
was gonna be my follow-up there. Go
Love it.
ahead. Like, how did
Yeah.
that start? Like,
They
just
started.
yeah, yeah, like,
Yeah. And I just stuck my hand out and waved one time, and now it's become so they'll reach out to me on social media, and then
mm-hmm,
whenever I get a thing, I usually send the wave emoji to them. So it's just a cool connection. And that's probably what's most special about all of this, right? Is I'm just a fan myself. I'm just a
mm-hmm,
fan who has the opportunity to have this platform on a microphone, and so I love when I get a chance to share with the fans. And um, I've always said, listen, we did the wireless mic experience at FIFA Club World Cup, so
Mhm.
I'm just saying a starting 11 from the Sons of Ben can't be out of the realm of possibility. So, hopefully we'll see that someday. But yeah, no. So Union 2 games I love, and Micah will go to the games and sit down by the bench, take notes,
mm-hmm.
and just take it all in. So it's a fantastic experience.
Yeah, those are super fun. I think my favorite was I know you posted about it when Stas scored that PK in the 67th minute and the kids went
Yeah.
wild when that was announced.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Stas
Yeah.
is a great because I've been
Yeah.
announcing Stas's name since back at the University of Pennsylvania, right?
Right.
So
Right.
it's just awesome to see his growth and development to be a part of that. Um, and that's another area. The University of Pennsylvania holds a special place in my heart because Rhodes Field is a pretty unique place
Mhm.
down there on 76. Beautiful pitch, right?
Mhm.
Hmm.
The unique thing about working Penn games is that um, I'm right between the benches down on the field, right? So I
Hmm.
am not removed. I'm right there. I have
Hmm.
great rapport with the coaching staff at Penn and um, the officials that come through. So I feel like I also do the scoreboard in addition to being the PA guy. So um, and it's a great product, man. Ivy League soccer is a great product. It's fast, it's physical. Um, so I've been blessed to have that opportunity to be a part of that program for 20 plus years now too.
Have you ever announced at the Penn Relays?
Yeah, I did once. I was
Okay.
so they also have a longtime PA guy,
Hmm.
but they brought me in one year to do some in stands promotions.
Oh.
Yeah, and what an event that is, right? Like you go on a
Oh.
Saturday and the Jamaican groups are there, and it's like that buildup of noise until you get to that crescendo is. If you haven't experienced Penn Relays, you got to do it at least once. But yeah, I've had the opportunity to be a part of it. The other unique thing I had the opportunity to be a part of at Penn was an event they did called Beauty and the Beast.
Mm.
So what they did was in the Palestra, they had a wrestling match and a gymnastics meet going on at the same time simultaneously. So I did the wrestling match, and Rich
Hmm.
Kahn, who's the PA guy with Penn, did the gymnastics event. So that was kind of a unique experience.
How did that work with like because I imagine you now have two announcers going on at the same time. Like what was that like for you?
There was a little bit of coordination between the two of
Yeah.
us as far as yeah. So it was we just kind of winged it, right? Nobody's done
Hmm.
it before, so
Yeah.
it was cool. Yeah, it was a really unique experience.
No, I agree with you about Penn Relays. It is a unique experience having watched it. My dad ran it way back in the 70s, so
Yeah,
it's a unique experience. It's something I've always told people if you go to a cool event, track and field, good Penn Relays once in your
yeah,
life.
without a doubt.
So, of course, you've gotten to call two supporter shields during your time, and of course, 2025, just awesome. Of course,
Yeah.
just I wonder how it felt announcing the shield winner this past season compared to when back in 2020, obviously, because that was a whole different experience. This is a question from our friend Mike Barrera, so he
Yeah.
he wanted to know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, obviously, having a full stadium and having a full fan base there made it truly special with the group of guys that were able to sort of run it back a little bit in their core component. Yeah, and it was just like you realize in sport how infrequently moments like that come along, and you just try and soak up every moment of it, right? And um, so the being on the field for the celebration at the end, um, having Elena, my oldest, and Micah with me for that moment was special as well, and sharing that with them. So the pictures and everything, and I've been there since the beginning, right? So you have a bond with this the front office staff. I mean, think about it. I work for an organization where Tim McDermott, the CEO, knows the PA announcer's name and has a conversation with them. There's not a whole lot of organizations I feel like that have that sort of family kind of feeling about it. And that's generally the feeling I get when I go there. I have a feeling like I'm in a family that I'm working with friends, and so to share in the moment with them. We've been through. We flew out to LA for the MLS Next Cup final. We flew to Houston. They flew us to Houston for a US Open Cup final. So
Hmm.
we've sort of seen and been on those ends of it. So to be able to share in um, that supporter shield was a truly special moment.
Yeah, and along those lines, so another one of our good friend, Jose Nunez, he wanted to know if there's one player that you could announce their name at Subaru Park, and it can be from MLS, US, international. Who's your favorite player to announce?
Oh, I'm gonna get it wrong, but there's a player on Tottenham, the
Yeah.
Spurs,
All right.
Udogie, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know his first name, but whenever he comes on, my son and I are like, ooh doggy, like that. That would be a fun one to announce.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what position he plays with Spurs,
Hmm.
so that would be one. Um, But I don't know. I mean, I've had a chance to call a lot of the big names in soccer internationally.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know. That would be an interesting one. I'll tell you
It
what, it would have to be a
Good.
name with a lot of vowels, right? So vowels are important in being able to really draw out a name.
Yeah, do you
Uh,
have like a favorite Union player you like to
I
announce their
mean,
name?
I think Bedoya is probably the guy, right? So
Hmm.
we have this this sort of running joke in the control room. We talk about timing and
Hmm.
a script being timed. So when we're doing the starting 11, right, when Bedoya was a regular and was the captain, he would be the last name that I would announce. And so it became like, okay, how long can he draw out Alejandro?
Hmm.
And so I would try and draw it out just as absolutely long as I could in the emulating Andres Cantor
Hmm.
with his goal call. And so they would either say, okay, long Bedoya, or hey, short Bedoya, we're out of time. We don't have time. We got to get this through. So when it was a long Bedoya, it was like, all right, how long can he hold it this time? How long can he go before he passes out? And so that's got to become the name that I've enjoyed the most is the Alejandro of Bedoya's name. Yeah,
And he's back for another season, so
he is.
that's great.
Yes,
Yeah, see how
yes,
much of a role he plays. And of course, you'll have some new names to call this season too, and
yeah.
so that'll be exciting. So look forward to hearing those.
Is there, and I'm just curious, is there like, has there ever been like a Union player that has been difficult, like it maybe took a couple times
Well,
phonetically, or like a
um,
certain, what,
the name that I always point to and I always talk about as being a difficult name to announce was Fred.
Oh,
no.
I mean, it's one syllable, right? What am I supposed to
Gotcha.
do with that? Like, give me
Yeah.
something to work with. And so he's in the academy now, obviously, right,
Yeah.
coaching. And
yeah,
so when
yeah,
Micah was in there, I would see him all the time, and I would tease him, like, "Man, Fred, so what am I supposed to do with that? Like, how many different ways can you say it?" And he would
Right.
laugh about it. And so for alumni night, when he came back, I announced every single one of his names, right? In the Brazilian fashion, he's got
yeah.
like five
Yeah.
names, right? The mother's name. And I announced every single one. He got a kick out of that. So yeah. So I
That's
think that was
awesome.
um, probably one of the hardest because of the simplicity of it, I guess.
Yeah, that would be more difficult.
It would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so outside of the Supporters Shield, I'm sure announcing the Eastern Conference Final back in 2022, that was, I'm sure, pretty exciting. You had, you know, the U Union too, Eastern Conference Final
Yep.
too was pretty
Yeah.
awesome as well. But any other favorite goal calls, or games that you announced that were personal favorite?
Personal favorite easily is the Red Bull playoff game. Glesnes's goal
Hmm.
in late in that match.
Hmm.
Um, There's a great Micah had my phone. He's taking video. He's sort of 12 or 13, so the voice is cracking. And he's got the video out because it's a free kick, right? It's right outside of the box.
Hmm.
And he wanted to record that moment. And so he's taking video and it comes back to Glesnes and he scores. And Micah's video of it is just classic, right? Because he's screaming and yelling, voice is cracking. I'm going crazy. We posted up on YouTube and the public address announcer for the Seattle Sounders, who and it's funny because I've gotten to know a couple of the others through social
Hmm.
media. He's like, "Hey, way to keep it professional, right? Like, sort of making fun of ours." I said, "This is Philly, man. This is how we do it here. We don't have time for that professionalism." So that was definitely um, a huge moment that I remember from an announcing standpoint as well. Um, obviously the first match in Lincoln Financial Field against DC United with Seba's hat trick was a big moment. The Lincoln Financial Field is a hard place to do the PA announcing because you are in a confined. The window doesn't open in the PA booth, so you're behind glass, and it really removes you from the energy and the atmosphere. You almost feel like you have a fishbowl effect going on, right? Not probably unlike what the press box there is like, but it just makes it a little more challenging, right? So to be, and I really feed off of the crowd. So when it's at Subaru and it's a big goal, I can feel the adrenaline just as much as anybody else, and that sort of hopefully comes across in the way the call's made as well.
It most certainly does.
Yeah, like when we're in a press box and it's the windows are closed, like I don't like that
Yeah.
as much. Unless
It
it's really
is.
No.
cold out, then it's like, okay, maybe it's not so
Yeah.
bad. But yeah,
Yeah.
I know like in Columbus it was all closed. We've been to a few like that, you know.
I like when we're covering a match for us, I like to feel the
Yeah.
energy
Yeah.
because it helps with your writing. You know,
Yes.
it's the same with obviously with the announcing. You know, you feel the energy, it helps
Yeah.
you
Sure.
out. So yeah, I'm kind of like you. Is there any stadiums outside of like Subaru Park, Lincoln Financial Field that you enjoy calling at?
Yeah, I've had a chance to work a bunch of matches at MetLife Stadium, which is
Hmm.
a cool venue to work in. I had a chance to work Neymar's first cap for Brazil.
Oh, nice.
I was on the mic for that at MetLife Stadium. Um, I had a chance just this past year to be down at Commanders Field. I'm not sure what they're calling it these days down there, but
Yeah.
Argentina, Guatemala, calling a Messi goal down there. M&T Stadium in Baltimore, worked AC Milan. Zlatan was in the house for that one. So, you know, yeah. So those venues, anytime you get to do a national team game, and I've worked national team games from like Pratt and Whitney up at the University of Connecticut,
Hmm.
Red Bull Arena, MetLife Stadium down in the DC. Um, and so I've been blessed enough to work about, I think it's 26, 27 national team matches. So, um, anytime you get a chance to do that, it's a special moment.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, final question, I guess. We talked about your favorite calls. What is your favorite moment? And it can be from any period, uh, being around the Philadelphia Union.
Phew. I mean, I definitely think a special moment was the first supporter shield we win. And then that next fall we have the ring presentation, right? And getting that ring from the supporter shield was a pretty special moment. The trip out to California for the MLS Next Cup was a special moment. Greatest sporting event until it turned out to be the worst sporting event that I've ever been to, right?
Yeah, we were
Uh,
there too. It was
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
that was definitely a special moment as well. Getting a chance to host and call Seba's name going up in the Ring of Honor as her first name. I've had a chance to really get to know him. Another great guy, genuine guy. That would be a special moment as well. The Leagues Cup semifinal with Messi coming in.
Hmm.
Was a special moment. Because they did the starting 11s a little bit different then, right? We did them one at a time, and it was kind
Hmm.
of created a little bit cool of an atmosphere. So that was a special moment as well. But um, yeah, I think you have those special games, but the matches I just love are, it's the middle of the summer. It's a beautiful night, right? And
Hmm.
it's like, we're here getting a chance to do this and getting paid for it. So it's like, it's awesome.
That is. That
Yeah,
definitely is.
for sure. Yeah. I wish I could have heard your call of the Jacob Glesnes banger against the Red Bulls, but I had to be
Oh my
coaching on the
gosh.
pool. I'm still salty about it all these
Yeah.
years later because he was there, I wasn't. I was coaching at a swim meet. I was like in between sessions and watching it on my
Yeah.
phone and
Yeah.
like going nuts right there. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, he was there though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like he said it was like the loudest he's ever heard it there and
yeah,
just
yeah.
everything's shaking. It was
It
great.
it was.
Yeah.
Kevin, this has been wonderful. Thank you again so
Yeah.
much. And where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, so I'm pretty active on Instagram at kkc395 is my handle there, and Twitter as well. So those are the two places where I'll post a lot, or I guess X now. Sorry, not Twitter.
We still call it Twitter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So those are the two places I'll post generally as we get closer to the season. I'll start posting goal calls and some interactions there. And it's just a great place to connect with fans and be a part of it all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're getting super excited for the season coming up, and
Yep.
you're looking forward to hearing your calls in the stadium, and
Yep.
be there for Union and Union 2, and so that'll be great. And yeah, again, thanks so much for being on with us. This has been fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
And for everyone listening, make sure that you check out our website, theoneteamweagreeon.com, for all our latest updates, and our YouTube channel, One Team We Agree On. Find us on our socials on Twitter at TOTWAG. We're also on Blue Sky at the same. We are on Facebook and Instagram at the One Team We Agree On. I'm on Twitter, and I refuse to call it X. I still call it
Yeah.
Twitter. Yeah. Yeah. On there and on Instagram at silly double underscore Jilly. And Kyle's at Coach Almany on those places. And make sure you guys like and subscribe and leave us comments because we love hearing from you. And but yeah, this has been fantastic. Thanks again, Kevin. And
Wonderful,
yeah.
wonderful,
Yeah,
wonderful conversation.
great job.
Appreciate your time. And so until next time, this has been an all new episode of One Team We Agree.
Yep. And I am Jillian.
And I'm Kyle, and we'll see you at the game.